I think Nick brought a good package here, but this was definitely not the best Nick Walker we've seen.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. To everyone who has been saying that the New York Pro this year wasn't as close as it was shown on the scorecards, well, listen to theMartian-Fitzwater's breakdown of all the mandatories between Nick Walker and Martin-Fitzwater. The overall score between Martin and Nick was 5-3, with Nick Walker winning 5 shots over Martin. But the most surprising part of that breakdown was that there was only one shot between both these guys, where theMartian said that Nick was clearly ahead of Martin, and that was the back lat spread.
So this was a pose that I thought was pretty clearly for Nick. Nick has improved how he's hit this pose dramatically over the last couple of years. I actually still think his lats can come out a little bit more. I think this pose, he still has a little bit more to give.
Even the side chest, the most muscular, which are some of the strongest poses for Nick Walker, Martin was able to push him extremely hard on these poses as well.
This could be a toss-up pose. I mean, this was a 1-point show, so the panel was split almost right down the middle, 3-2 on which bodybuilder they thought won. Again, I think this in the side chest, this is another toss-up pose, which I think some people would say, wow, that's crazy. What are you talking about?
So let's settle this debate once and for all, that when there is a 1-point difference at both the prejudging as well as the finals, and overall a 2-point victory, it isn't because the judges want to hype up the Olympia. It's simply because the guys on that stage are so damn close.
Significantly better in this pose than Nick. Nick should never do a crab most muscular again. I'm sure he won't, but...
And throughout theMartian's breakdown, you will continue to get the feeling that this wasn't Nick Walker's best conditioning. And actually, I get that.
Nick wasn't quite his best. I think he can push it to the Olympia where he focuses really on bringing in that waistline more.
His last contest was the Arnold Classic 2023, when he came in as shredded as he possibly could. Possibly the best conditioning of his life. But at the same time, in chase of that conditioning, they lost a lot of volume, a lot of density in his quads, and he lost more of his sweep. And one of the reasons he lost that title to Samson Dauda was because his legs were looking so downsized. And that is why the judges gave him that feedback to bring better legs, to bring bigger legs. And that is why both him and Matt Jensen decided to come in much more harder and fuller.
Was much closer than it would look through the video or through the pictures. So, especially at prejudging, I thought Nick was definitely... the conditioning was not as good as it was at the finals. The lines weren't as deep. The separation wasn't as deep. And his back was definitely a little bit flat.
But Martin was in such a supreme conditioning. Plus, he had more eye-pleasing physique. And that is why he was able to expose Nick Walker in certain areas, particularly his waistline. So I guess all those people who are talking about Nick Walker's waistline getting bigger, they won't be labeled as haters anymore. Because even theMartian pointed out that Nick's waistline has gotten wider. And although according to him, he was able to improve his quads, but that did not help his overall V-taper, because his waist got wider as well.
I think actually he did improve his quad size from the front from the last time we saw him. However, with Nick here, I do think that his waist got wider. So overall flow of the pose for Nick, I think is hurt by his waist being a little bit wider here. I think it kind of minimizes the improvements that he did make to his quads and his sweep from the front.
So a lot of work needs to be done between this time and Mr. Olympia. If Nick Walker wants to push Derek Lunsford for the Olympia title this year, let me rephrase that. There are some great bodies that Nick Walker needs to beat first before he gets to Hadi Choopan and Derek. Because we all know if Samson Dauda puts it together and the judges are taking that waistline thing so seriously, it is gonna be one hell of a job for Nick to beat Samson Dauda as well. And we have to keep in mind, this is the first time Andrew Jack took some time off, took a real off-season break. So I think he is gonna be really dangerous as well. Plus, we have a guy like Hunter Lebrada, who is looking so damn good this time.
Conditioning that made him hold his own at the very least in every pose. And really looking through it, you can make arguments on almost every pose between these guys, especially being right up on them on the stage.
So, Martin-Fitzwater must be extremely happy with all this feedback. He's aiming to get into that first call-out at his Olympia debut. Now, is that gonna be possible? Well, none of us thought that Martin is going to be able to push Nick Walker so much at the New York Pro. He was able to close that gap between him and Nick Walker so much, and we just saw that last weekend. So Martin isn't looking to rush it. He's aiming for a pound or maybe 2 pounds of solid tissue for this upcoming Mr. Olympia, which is really realistic. and combine that additional size with the conditioning he's able to bring, he's gonna become a real threat to anyone who comes in a little bit off at Mr. Olympia level. But I do have to say, cracking top 6, that is gonna be really difficult. The chances of that happening are kinda slim.
Just overall, Martin, I think, showed that he is probably a very big contender to do damage at his first Olympia. He went up against a guy that's been top 5 the last 3 years, looked at as a top 3 bodybuilder in the world, unbelievable bodybuilder, and Martin pushed him to the limit.
Next up, we have a classic physique update. So Patrick towards plan with Stephane that has worked flawlessly up until this point. I mean, the man is down almost 30 pounds since the prep began, and he seems to be holding on to a lot of the fullness and a lot of size that he normally loses as he gets deeper and deeper into the prep. So the scary part for Stephane is that he looks extremely lean at this point in time, but he still has to lose another 14 or 15 pounds in order to make the weight cutoff for classic physique. The core separation is looking so awesome right now. His trademark chest striations are looking so much deeper. And we can see there is insane separation between his shoulders, his arms, in that side chest shot. So I believe Stephane will be able to qualify for Mr. Olympia this year. He did it last year as well, and that wasn't even his personal best. So with Patrick prepping him slow and steadily, I don't think winning a pro show would be a problem. The real debate is how high Stephane can place at his Mr. Olympia debut. Is he gonna be good enough to crack top 10? And also looking at his current condition, should he really think about switching to open bodybuilding for good? Stuart Sutherland, aka Beef Stu, was spotted posing for the legendary trainer Chris Cormier just a few days out of his next show, California Pro. So Tonio Burton really is the favorite to win Cali Pro this year, and Stu hasn't been able to beat him up until now. But I do have to say, Stu does have some advantages over Tonio Burton, most noticeably his width. As per theMartian, it was extremely close between Tonio and Stu in some shots, but Stu maybe can turn things around at Cali Pro and win the front and the side shots against Tonio Burton in Cali Pro. The back shots are Tonio Burton's all day long. Keep in mind, this is a very crucial show for Tonio, as he has been in prep for a while now. His bad luck was that he wasn't able to win Arnold Classic Brazil against an off-Rafael Brandao. And even though Tonio Burton has put on some mass, some size over his frame in the last 2 years or so, but the expectations that he has set for himself, if he qualifies for Mr. Olympia this year, they are extremely high. He said he's looking to be at least top 6, and I think that is really far-fetched. We have so many monsters fighting for those top 6 spots. So Tonio Burton has been extremely consistent with his conditioning in the last 2 shows. So he has a great shot of winning California Pro. But do let me know what you guys think. Can Beef Stu beat Tonio Burton? Carlos Thomas Jr. dropped out of the Arnold Brazil. That was a real shocker. And the main reason for that was a death in his family. But he also had that stomach issue once again that Carlos has been previously diagnosed with. And it seems like as he gets closer and closer to the show, and his body is more and more in stress, his body becomes more prone to recurrence of that condition. So what's next for Carlos? He isn't looking to compete anytime soon, as he has just started his off-season once again, after taking 6 to 7 weeks completely off, cleaning out a system, and going through a detox phase. So he wants to make more improvements, especially in his back, because both of his back shots, the back double biceps and the back lat spread, they are relatively weak, especially in comparison to his front. And he really needs to improve on those parts if he wants to qualify for the Olympia this year. Now that being said, maybe Carlos does need to compete more. He won his IV Pro card back in 2021, and he has done only 1 pro show since then. And the man that he beat back in 2021 to earn his pro card, that was Justin Shire. And Justin has already been on the Olympia stage last year, and he has already won a pro show. So Carlos did mention Legend Sports, which is closer to the Olympia. I think it is the last qualifier for this year's Mr. Olympia. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. So if everything goes according to the plan, he might do that show. But as of right now, the plan is to get bigger. The plan is to spend more time in the improvement phase.
My plan is just to make this, as best as the best part as off-season as possible. And if anything down the road looks possible, you know what I mean? Like as far as like, I know the Legion is a little later on in the year. That would be great.
So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.